So explain what it is about the, the competitive landscape that's changed, that's really necessitated agencies having CMOs, people specific to that role within their organization?
I think you have a lot of new agencies that have come in. You have agencies that are very specialized doing different things, whether or not it's on the digital front or a subset of digital on the mobile front. And I think a lot of times clients aren't sure who to go to. What I love about Draftfcb is that all these disciplines are underneath one roof. So reality is we are sort of a one-stop solution for a client if they want a one-stop solution. So we have all these different disciplines, together. If you look at really as you build a brand, what you want is that amazing creative platform. That's an idea that goes across all elements of communications and all your touch points. And so that's what we really try to do with Draftfcb is that, we provide that platform and then we actually help clients understand what all those touch points are. So it's more engagement marketing, but under a brand platform.
Can you explain too sort of how the rise of procurement on the marketer side has really changed the way you do business and sort of how that's affecting your role too?
Well, there's also a lot of discussion about procurement, the pros and cons. I guess wherever I look at the pro of it, procurement has probably added some discipline back to our industry, and that's not a bad thing. And so, we are, it's important for us to be aware of the finances, to be aware of how much things cost. I think where it runs a little bit of into a little bit of the dangerous area is when procurement looks at you just as they look at how one buys pencils, because it's a business of ideas, and we are a partner. We're not a vendor. In fact, when I've been on the client side, when people will say, "Well, you're vendors," and I just bristle because agencies aren't your vendors; they are your business partners. And if you look at the success that a lot of brands have had, it's really a direct result of how they've worked with their agencies and their agencies developing an amazing brand and brand platform for them that has grown their brand, growing their brand and growing their business together.
So that being said, sort of what's your ideal as far as agency compensation? What model do you think works?
Well, I think it really is, it's probably, if you look at an FTE, in terms of you pay for the staff that's on your account, and then a bonus. So therefore, if you over-deliver, then you're compensated back. I am, though, a firm believer on compensating your agency fairly, and I don't know if all clients are. When I was a client, that was a major draw for me, is that I never wanted to basically not deal with an agency fairly because they were my business partner. If I had a legal issue, I would pay them a fair price, whatever that was, and I would never nickel and dime them. So as long as you have that good relationship going back and forth. So therefore, I think it is to be fairly compensated and to have our clients understand the value that we bring. And I think that's also part of our responsibility, is to work with clients to understand that the value that we do bring them. I feel that agencies bring them a perspective that they don't necessarily have internally. It's why you come to an agency. We sit a little on the outside. We have creative people, who look at things differently. We deal with the business of ideas. We also deal with understanding how consumers buy and make choices and decisions. So we have a whole analytics side, which actually is a lot of times a little different from the analytics side that sits on a client side. Example, when I was on the credit card side, we have analytics that are used to figure out what card I should give you, what should your credit line be, and those analytics are important. The analytics that we have on the agency side would be, well, why did they pick your card? And what about that card was important to these people? So it's we bring a little different flavor, I think, than a lot of clients have on their own.
As far as kind of what lies ahead for the agency, what do you expect as far as how the economic woes, the challenges that consumers are facing? How is that impacting you now, and how do you expect that to impact you moving into 2012?
Well, I think a number of things impact us. Yes, the economy does, and a lot of that then is driven by consumers buying your products, and also the budgets that clients have to support the products. But people still buy products. I mean, you still need to, you need to eat, you need to be clothed, and you need to go on vacation. And so those things really haven't changed, but I think we have to figure out how is the best way to get our messages to our consumers in a way that works for our clients, that's affordable, but is also getting that right message that's out there. I think when all clients step back, they would say, I do need an agency to help me do that, to help me get the right message to the right person at the right time in the right place. I think what's further probably sort of confounded things or complicated things is that consumers are bombarded by messages all over the place. And it just if you look at your kids, they're sitting there with an iPad, they're maybe even in front of their laptop with an iPad, and they're texting. I mean, they're taking in so many messages at the same time, and as on your way to work, you're taking a lot of messages at the same time. So how do we help our clients sort through all those messages? So how do we understand consumers in terms of how they are sorting through those messages? So I actually think that's a huge thing. I think the other thing is with just as technology is advancing, you look at digital. About 10 years ago, we really weren't talking about digital. Now, because it's so part and parcel of what we do, we feel like we've talked about it forever. Remember when I was at MasterCard, we were the first credit card company that said it's okay to shop online, and that was in the late 90s. And now you think, wow, that someone had to go out and say that? But we did. And so I think what we do as an agency is try to have our clients understand all these new channels and how to understand how to use these channels. And I think that will continue to be one of the things that we bring to clients. And I think that continues to be an issue that we all have to sort through is how do we sort through all this? And how do we make sure that we are understanding it in a way that consumers are taking it in, and that we are figuring out how's the best way to communicate back to consumers via all these channels that are out there for them to hear.